So let's talk about Blizzard's bungling balance attempts, specifically with regards to D.Va. Now, she had been buffed in the PTR massively, and all of those changes have gone live fairly recently. This also applies to other changes, for example, Ana, no more speed and nano boost, etc. It's always interesting, as a side note, to remark on the fact that PTR changes are never really reviewed. They just, whatever appears on the PTR is kept on the PTR, and then in whatever incarnation they had initially introduced those changes in the PTR, those changes then appear in the actual game. They don't revise or change things up, really. Not to my knowledge. I can't remember a single instance of this. Regardless, D.Va is just horribly imbalanced right now. And she has an interesting history, doesn't she? She started off being just strangely weak. The defense matrix wasn't really working particularly well. And she could die from her own explosion. I mean, it's just bizarre. Some people took a liking to it nonetheless. Then they fixed the death from explosion. Useful. They cut down the cooldown, or rather the detonation time on her, and everything was hunky dory. They increased the matrix thing. Yeah, really just, solid changes, well worth it. She was all of a sudden pretty viable. What happened on the PTR? Well, two things. One, she now moves 25% more quickly when she is attacking people, which is actually not a bad change. I could support that. But she has 100 more health. 600 total health in the mech, 400 of which is armor. Right? This is no joke. 400 armor, which is damage mitigation, basically. So effectively, her total health pool is much higher than that. And she has a second life when she's outside of the mech. Add to that the ability to do a damaging boop that can cause environmental kills, even kill people if they're sufficiently low in health. Directed flight with a shorter cooldown than Winston, meaning you can fly directly to a place around corners, angles, a defense matrix that absorbs just about everything except energy, and even Zarya's own ult. Increased speed, no need to reload with her ammunition. She's just insane, and people think this is balanced. Now let's look at Reinhardt, who's in a bad place right now. Utterly slow, just terribly slow. Slow attack. His damage output isn't that great, DPS wise. He's got a barrier now that could easily be nullified vis-a-vis Sombra, but it's not even necessary to use Sombra to get rid of his barrier. You could just pummel the thing, and he's no way of escaping. And he has a fraction of the armor that D.Va has, and 100 less total health. And he doesn't have a second life. Blizzard has no fucking clue how to balance heroes. I've been saying for eons now that Winston needs small buffs. And I play a lot of Winston. I'm pretty good with him, I think. Unlike D.Va. I'm not that good with D.Va. I'd never play her. But I feel like I can just do so much more with her than Winston, regardless of the situation. Indeed, I can feel I can do more with D.Va than I can with Reinhardt. And I'm by now, a fairly experienced veteran Reinhardt player when need be. D.Va I played a handful of times. Winston, for example, his jump, which is not directed, right? It's not directed. You cannot maneuver with it, really. Not terribly well, at least. Has a longer cooldown than D.Va. He has less armor, less total health. He has no defense matrix. He has a bubble with a 12-second cooldown that can be almost instantly destroyed. And yeah, he does more damage than AoE. Okay, whoop-de-doo. What on earth is Blizzard thinking when it comes to balancing? I realize these types of games are functionally works in progress. This is the case. It's always the case. But D.Va is now the best tank in the game and the best off tank in the game. There's no reason to choose Reinhardt over her in most situations. Never mind that overall, her ult is also better than Reinhardt's. Given the cooldown, she can really take out a lot of people, especially combined with something like a Zarya ult or a Mei ult. Why would you bother with Winston? I'm not going to bother with Winston anymore right now, except for, shits and giggles. Why? Because I have D.Va now. I got D.Va with her 400 fucking armor, 600 health, or increased movement speed while firing. No reload necessary. Incredible maneuverability, booping ability. Oh, I forgot. You also damage people if you follow them with a mech when you're, remeching. what other tank compares to that? Oh, she's vulnerable to energy weapons. Ooh, okay. I gotta give her some weakness. But she's pretty broken now. People say, oh, she's not really, she needs to do her job. Well, what about fucking Reinhardt? Slow as molasses. Low damage. All these issues. And yet, we don't have, no one thinks Reinhardt needs a buff. I mean, Reinhardt needs more armor, more health. Give him a solid extra 20 damage per hammer swing. That would be great. You know, you either balance heroes appropriately or you need to bring other heroes up to speed, Blizzard, because this is just insane. It's ridiculous. You can't really kill D.Va anymore unless it's just a massive assault from massive numbers of enemies. It's just a very strange scenario we find ourselves in. And I, for one, think that Blizzard really needs to rethink how they balance things and look at the other off-tanks, especially Winston. Winston desperately needs some minor tweaks, and D.Va doesn't need any more. In fact, she needs to revert, in my humble opinion, with the exception of the speed boost. Anyway, a bit of a rat, but D.Va is just in a place where I don't think she should be compared to other tanks. Best tank in the game, best sustained damage of any tank in the game, etc., etc. What the fuck are you thinking, Blizzard? Everyone take care, and you enjoy the rest of your week. Bye-bye.